Hello and welcome to Empower Your Words webinar. My name is Paulette Henson and I am a 27-time author, going on my 28th book. And today we are going to dive into self-publishing, your categories, your keywords, and book pricing, and how to simplify all of those methods to make your writing journey an ease and not have it to be so tedious in not only writing your manuscript, but your description and developing those keywords and what categories that you want to use for your book. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce the ladies on the panel. And currently we have Victoria Pearson, who is a technology master in AI, as well as using applications to simplify those writing methodologies. And also we have Miss Valerie Staton, who is an author, self-published, and she is here to contribute to our conversation, along with bringing up some of the issues that she's experienced in her writing journey. So I welcome you all to the webinar, and we're going to go ahead and dive into our webinar today. And our subject today, I'm going to talk about your writing, being a self-published author, and how you can save money versus having a publisher to do all the work for you. Most people know that publishers will they will nickel and dime you, so to speak, in all of their intricate details, as it relates to editing, as it relates to formatting. And so we want to just go over all of those things. And so before I go a little bit further, I'm going to bring the other ladies to the panel. We have Miss Tiffany Towns. Welcome, Tiffany. And we
Hi,
have
Tiffany.
Miss Chanel Williams. Welcome, Miss Chanel.
Hi, Chanel.
And we have Miss Dolores Griggs. Hi, Dolores. I believe
Hey,
Dolores
Dolores.
is part of our audience. So welcome, ladies. What I'll
Good
do
evening, good
is,
evening.
since we have you all on, I'll go ahead and Miss Tiffany, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Towns. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I am the author of 5 books, 2 romance, 1 women's devotional, and 2 children's books. So I've written across genres, and I'm very excited to be a part of your panel tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And Miss Chanel, hello, welcome.
Hello, good night, ladies. I hope everyone is doing fine. So my name is Chanel Williams. I'm a teacher for about 15 years. I just collaborated with some wonderful, excuse me, teachers and people who are in the educational field. We collaborated with a book called To Teach or Not to Teach Beyond the Classroom. I just finished my personal book as well. It's being edited right now, so it should be out soon. And I'm also working on another collaborative book surrounding caregivers of Alzheimer's persons talking about the trials and tribulations around taking care of their families that have been diagnosed with that disease. Looking to inspire and give tips and stuff to people who are going on the same journey. And I have some other ideas which I'll be working on for the next couple of years or so. So that's just a bit of what.
Awesome.
Kathy.
Welcome. And so Valerie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Valerie Staten, and I have published 2 books thus far. I have 4 projects that I'm currently working on, 2 ready for publication. I'm doing self-publishing. I have a novel that I want to get an agent or do a traditional publishing for because I'm not sure how it's going to go in the self-publishing arena. That's why today's webinar will be very helpful for me concerning that. I've been working on that for several years, so it's time for it to get put into print.
Awesome. Awesome. And Victoria, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Pearson. I live in Los Angeles, really the suburbs, but you just say LA because nobody knows the small towns. I live in Los Angeles. I have 2 children, adults, and I am ADHD, so I'm all over the place all the time. I've been like that my entire life, but I used to be embarrassed about it because everyone thought I was just a failure and I couldn't focus, and I can't really focus, or I have hyper focus, but it's hard for me to finish things. But I embrace it. I'm actually writing a book about it, not so much about ADHD, but looking at the other side of the coin, because now that the way that the world does business has changed, where it went from having a career, staying at a company, until you get your pension, retire, kind of single focus. The economy has changed globally. So eventually we're all going to be surviving on side hustles, an amalgamation of side hustles. That's the future of work for almost everyone. And, people don't really want to hear it because it's kind of bleak in a way. But for someone like me, it's like, yay, everybody, welcome to my party. So what I'm doing now, okay, first of all, as an author, I've been a writer my entire life, as long as I can remember from being a kid, writing stories, writing poems, writing love letters. When I got into my teenage years and young adult years, having pen pals. I got pen pals from overseas when I was a kid. Like they would be in the back of like some kids magazine, Mad magazine or something. I don't know. You could have pen pals. And I wrote, television shows and all kinds of things, right? But I never published anything. I turned in my schoolwork, but I never published anything because I never had any courage to put my words out there. I've always been very self-conscious. So it's really only been recently, I'd say in the last year and a half, that I kind of found my courage and I found my voice for a lot of reasons. And now it's like, I can't be stopped. So I'm writing books. I actually finished one. I just haven't had time to put it on Amazon, but it's finished. And it's all formatted, everything. I just have to upload it. So I'll get to that. And yeah, I'm working on a tech venture that's education based, and I'm going to talk about that. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to teach everybody how to prompt. Paulette's going to offer some classes on prompting, using ChatGPT or Claude, or, there are a million of those GPTs, but most people are familiar with ChatGPT, and how to use that to take your writing to the next level. Because as Paulette mentioned earlier, you spend a lot of time either with writer's block, So for some people it's organization, for some people it's just some point in your story that you can't see your way through. It might be character development, it might be the story arc. It could be a lot of things, but GPT is our friend. And I know for purists, my son's an artist in music. It's hard to embrace that, but all I say is get on board or get left behind, because the world is embracing it. Big business is embracing it. All the leading authors are whether they're going to admit it or not, are embracing it. And why not use it to your advantage? There's no glory in suffering over your keyboard. The point is you get it out there the best way you can. And obviously, no plagiarizing and all those things, but there is no shame in ChatGPT, and I'm going to teach you how to use it to your advantage.
Awesome. Welcome. And thank you so much, Victoria. And Miss Dolores.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I do have an identical twin sister, but she was having a hard time getting in, so hopefully she'll join me.
Okay, awesome.
I wrote my first book, and it's theological. It's your gift from God is actually in your name. And I'm also a retired probation officer, senior probation officer. So I belong to Capital Crimes, which are murder mystery writers. So I'm working on one of those as well. So I go back between theology and murder mysteries. Okay. My only problem is right now is I'm waiting on my trademark because I thought I signed up as a self-publisher, but I signed up as a publishing house, which is okay. I always say God works in mysterious ways. There's my twin up there. Can you see her?
I see.
Yeah, she's up top.
Yeah.
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Bring her up.
So it's okay that they said you can't self-publish under your own publishing house. So I have to re-sign up, change my name. My name is Rare Pearls Publishing. So I'm waiting on them to accept that. And I already have 3 people lined up that want to write their book through my publishing company. So I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. And then I'm also, I will have to re-sign up as a self-publisher. So I'm just kind of caught in the middle of it. So you have to be really careful when you do your trademark that you make sure you ask which form is which. Otherwise, it can take forever. So like I said, right now I'm caught in the middle of it. That's me.
Wow. Well, welcome. And
Thank you.
Miss Denise, hello. And
Hello.
how are you? Tell us your name, your writing journey, and where you're from.
I'm Denise Griggs, her twin, Dolores' twin. I'm the oldest. 4 minutes, going on 40 years. I've written 7 books.
Okay.
It's been a long time coming. It just got to the point where I couldn't even work anymore. I needed to be off to start this writing journey. And I knew at some point I wanted to start a publishing company too of my own. So I have 2 names that I write under. Of course, using my name, but I write under Glass Tree Books for children, and also Blue Eclipse Publishing for young adults and older. And I write on diversity, genealogy, and theology. And it's for both, and kind of all 3 are in the books, one way or the other. I have written the one book, A Mulatto Slave, the events in the life of Peter Hunt from 1844 to 1915, and all the things that occurred during his life as a slave. But then so many things were invented during that particular time, how it impacted him, which our family didn't know anything about. I've written 2, and I won an award on that book, and also on the children's genealogy book. I won Indie Book Awards on both books. And the children's book is I Know Who I Am on the Family Tree, a children's guide to genealogy. So I've been doing genealogy about 35 years. So it's like all the information that I gathered and documented history, oral history, and combined it together. With Peter Hunt, I wrote the book as though he was talking. And with the children, it's just a self-help guide for the parents and the adults. With the diversity, it's me and my childhood best friend. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. It's kind of, they're 10 years old and they're discovering there's a distinction in races. But the way it's put, it's funny, it's hilarious. And let's see, I also write, I've written a book, children's, the Wise Stewardship book for children only. And it's biblically based, it's based on creation. So a lot of things interest me. I'm also involved in a lot of genealogy groups on 2 different boards, and life is fun.
We're
Awesome.
both from Sacramento as well.
Right.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
you.
Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you all for taking your time out to join us in this webinar. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I want to talk to you all about the importance of your keywords, your descriptions, and your categories. Now, for those of you that use Amazon as your sole publishing entity, I would encourage you, if you want to get your books into multiple bookstores, you might want to try Ingram Spark. And Ingram Spark will allow you global distribution. Currently, as most of you may know, I publish a magazine called BWA. And BWA, the acronym stands for Black Women Authors. Now, this magazine is in every bookstore that you either know and many that you've never even heard of. All over the country, Japan, Canada, the UK. And so I just want to emphasize that Amazon is not the only tell-all for publishing your book. Don't be discouraged if you are thousands from being the best-selling author. That has no merit to the value of your book and the importance of your mission to get your words out there. And so I want to just change your mindset on Amazon being the only entity, because they're not. There are celebrities that have written books on Amazon, and you would think that because they're a celebrity, that their books would be on the first couple of pages, right, on Amazon, because they're well known. They know millions of people and everybody knows them. And that's not the case, especially for Black authors. They will be like on page 10, 12, 27. So just be mindful of that, because I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, am I frozen? I think I'm frozen. A lot of people, they're just honed in on Amazon only. Okay, so that's number one. And that's not taken away from Amazon, because one, their prices are manageable as it relates to how you price your book, and you can obtain a great deal of information when you are uploading your book. So that leads me to my next point. When you are uploading your manuscript, number one, your keywords can be phrases. They don't necessarily have to be one word. So, for example, if you're writing a book about cycling, your key phrases are going to be women that like to cycle, or cycling with your family, because those key words or key phrases are going to be triggers that will attract the other computer or the other person that is searching for people that like to cycle. Moving on to your categories, do your research. Whatever the subject matter of your book is, you're going to go onto Amazon and search on the top 5 books that have thousands of reviews. What that's going to tell you is, 1, check out their description. 2, they may not have keywords within their description, but I'm going to advise you to add keywords in your description, key phrases, what is called metadata. Metadata is really a snapshot of your book. So you're creating your description. You want to include your metadata, which is the number of pages, the date it was published, a synopsis of what your book is about. All of that information is going to drive traffic to you, to your book. And Amazon, on their upload page, it indicates that keywords are optional. Absolutely not. You have to put keywords or phrases in those sections. So think about that. When you are writing a book on a particular subject and you're researching other books, pricing, look at the prices so that you can align your book within that price range so that you are relatable. Now you're strategically aligned with some of the top 5 books. Also, within the description, especially the number 1, 2, 5 books in those categories, you want to tailor your description to emulate that description. You can literally copy and paste that description to yours and maybe tweak it with a couple of words, because descriptions are not copyrighted. Okay? They are free to everyone. And so if you notice, which I've noticed, when I upload a new magazine, now I'm starting to see other magazines and books that pop in near my magazine because they're doing the same thing. So these are tricks of the trade that Amazon is not going to tell you. You know, you have to research and dig and find this information out. Now, as it relates to categories, categories are also triggers, okay? They are triggers from one computer to another, also known as algorithms. And so you want to be mindful of your triggers and make sure that you're attracting the audience that you're looking to attract, okay? If your book is for a certain age group, you want to indicate that in your description. If it's about theology for Denise and Dolores, you want to indicate that. Also, it's Valerie. You want to indicate that. And also with your categories, if you're writing about a subject that has tens of thousands of books, you want to make sure that maybe you tweak your categories to another direction. Because now you're going to be competing with all of the ministers, all of the people that are writing books on theology. Unless you look at those top 5, as I mentioned, and tailor your description so that you can align yourself in a higher place. Very important. And so before I go on, does anyone have any questions about anything that I have mentioned? Anything, any comments?
I do.
Yes.
I use KDP, Amazon. Now, as I understand it, and I could possibly be wrong, I couldn't take it to Ingram Sparks. Is that true?
So let me tell you this. No, that is not true.
Okay.
You can publish your book 5, 10 times if you want to on Amazon, on KDP for different prices.
Mhm.
And you can tweak maybe your subtitle. And now it's a new book.
Okay.
Okay. You don't only have to upload one copy or one title.
That's good to
You
know.
can use that same title and upload it in and maybe direct it in different categories. Let's say you
Okay.
want to direct your book to colleges or people that are in college or people that are in technology or whatever those categories are. You can now direct your book. So now it's going to different levels of people. You can do that. And you're going to have a different ISBN number for the same book. Okay. So the answer to your question is no, you can upload a book on Ingram Spark and upload it onto KDP. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
But to each publisher, you would have to have a different ISBN. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Because technically you're uploading a new book.
Okay.
For example, when I upload the magazine, maybe on Ingram Spark, it's a little bit higher price to publish that book than it is on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay, because it's going out to bookstores all over the world, and we're talking about 50,000 book entities that are reviewing books and that are picking them up to sell.
Okay.
Once they pull your name there, and if you're publishing books frequently, they're gonna just carry all your books. And we're talking from eBay, Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. Gosh, now our magazine is in the Harvard bookstore. They've picked it up. And so it just, the list goes on and on. So in essence, my magazine in Ingram Spark may be $24.99, but on Amazon it's $19.99. Because Ingram Spark is going to as you're going to negotiate the commission for those book entities that pick up your book. So they're going to give you a list of different percentages that you want to agree upon. And they're going to take that portion out of your book. So that is the difference with Ingram Spark. However, you're getting more exposure.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Tiffany?
I know that I was just going to chime in. at least one person, I think Denise, somebody mentioned selling internationally.
Yes,
And I recently read, and I didn't dive into it because it doesn't apply to me. It applies to people who are selling, I guess, books, ebooks, those types of things, and advertising them for sale in specifically the EU. They have passed legislation about accessibility requirements. And so digital texts have to be accessible to people who have vision impairment, audio, hearing impairment, those types of things. I believe it goes into effect in July. So if you are selling internationally, be mindful of that and look
Yes.
up the law. It's the EU, it's called accessibility requirements, and research that so you don't get yourself into trouble. It's really, they take it seriously over there in terms of making things accessible to people who have various, disabilities.
And that brings me to a point. I'm glad you brought that up, Victoria, because for those of you that don't know, there is what is called a large print, where you can print, you can have your book printed in large print for, people that can't see as well to read. That's a $2 billion industry.
Wow.
Billion, because people are just writing books just for, people that they think that will read them. But there's a whole nother world of people that want to read books, but they're not able to. And so I did find that out. $2 billion industry that's literally untapped. So think about that. As well as creating your book in another language, untapped. Everyone's writing in English, but there are other languages, Spanish, French, that you can convert your book, and now you have access to other markets of people. Okay, so be mindful of that. That's a great way to promote and to bring other people, to you and to your work. So thank you for bringing that up. Does anyone have any questions? It's about.
Hi. So, my first book, as I said, was a collaboration book. So the publishing and editing, a company dealt with that. So my second book, well, a situation that came out of that, one of the persons that wanted to buy a copy of the book, actually wanted a translated copy because the person speaks French. So when you brought that up, so I was wondering if you've ever done that before, if you have any app or company you would recommend to do that. And
Yes, actually, so Canva will translate. I do believe, Victoria, Microsoft, I believe all of the applications that you are writing on will translate to the language that you prefer.
Yeah, there's a setting in Microsoft Word, for example, because I work with someone who really doesn't speak English, they speak Spanish. So when he sends the documents, they're in Spanish.
Right.
And I just go in my settings. I couldn't tell you where, because on Word, you just kind of know where to find it. But you could easily find out. You can translate the document into different languages.
Yes. Also, Google. You can use Google for translation of your manuscript. And, it's a great way, another tool that you can use. As it relates to when I'm just going to speak really quick because Valerie had sent a message to me this morning on pricing and dealing with bookstores. and how you go about negotiating a price. Let's say you're doing a book signing and that book has agreed to have you for a day to promote your book, but of course they're going to want a commission factor in there. And so in her case, the okay, wait 1 second. We're going to start that in just a minute. Okay, so in her case, the pricing is something that you want to negotiate with that bookstore owner before you agree. Okay, you want to have that in writing and before you step into that bookstore. So without we're gonna go into that a little bit more and when we go through our Q&A, but let's go ahead and I'm gonna turn it over to Victoria and she is going to speak about AI technology and all of that. So Victoria, take it away.
Yay, I love AI. So AI, artificial intelligence, it is as much as, is everyone here using it at some level, ChatGPT?
Yes.
Okay, so basically there are two things. Currently, we're in the age of AI, which
Yes.
is artificial intelligence. So basically, AI can't think like a human.
Right.
All AI is doing is, so the GPT, ChatGPT, stands for generative predictive text. It's guessing the words, but because it's consumed almost every written and spoken word that we have in existence, it basically kind of knows, you know, when you talk about a bumblebee, it's going to be red. I mean, it's going to be black and have yellow stripes and it has wings. So it's guessing, but it's guessing really well, right? Because it knows all the conversations about Superman, all the conversations about a murder mystery, you know, all the books about murder mystery. It basically has been fed all of these trillions and trillions of bits of data. Everything basically that we know in existence, you know, from scientific research and discoveries to, you know, recipes or fitness regimens. So artificial intelligence is things like, you know, ChatGPT, you know, the apps that will chop up your videos. So you can put, you know, take a long video, turn it into 30-second, 45-second, or 1 minute videos. It chops it up. It figures out where to chop it up. You know, put your text on the screen, the subtitles. And so that's AI, and there's AI for everything, right? Lawyers are using it, doctors are using it, scientists are using it, everybody's using it. Authors are using it, yes.
Yes.
And so AI, you know, there are different types, right? So you have GPT, which is generative predictive text. It generates all the text that we love, you know, for our books and for our flyers and for our blog posts and everything with text. That's what, you know, our strategic marketing plan, that's GPT. Then you have other AI that generates video. It's called text to video. So you'll see TTV, TTS, text to speech, right? I mean, there's video, there are still pictures. So all these beautiful images, almost anything you can imagine, you know, animations, if you write children's books, right? There are generative tools out there that'll do the animation for you based upon your typed words. You know, and in the case of something like ChatGPT, you can even speak to it. You know, you don't even have to type. You speak to it. You can get in that mode. Why? Because they're trying to be accessible, right? You have AI that will generate everything from a legal brief to, you know, a strategic business plan, to analytics, to figuring out your target market and your keywords and your title and how much people will pay for your book, and right? That's what everyone, not everyone, but that's where we're at, and that's what people are doing. You even have AI that you can automate it so that all you do is put a topic in a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. You know, you fill up your topics and you can automate it. It'll pick the topic, it'll send it to ChatGPT, it'll make a post depending on if it's X or Instagram or TikTok. You know, it's all different, right? All of those things have a different format for the content. It'll send it back to your spreadsheet. Then it'll send it out to an image generator to generate the video or generate the still image. It'll send it back to your spreadsheet. And so you can automate it so that it actually will post it to your social media. Or you can just say, you know what, generate all this stuff, hold it for me in the spreadsheet. I'm going to come in there and decide what I want you to post. You click, you know, depending on how you set it up, you click approved. And when you click approve, it's gone and it's posted. And it can post to all of your socials at the same time, right? That's what we're dealing with AI. So now we're moving slowly, but it's there, to what is called artificial general intelligence, AGI. If you just, now that I've said it, you're going to see it everywhere, right? We're not there yet in terms of us consumers having access. I personally believe technology is already there. AI has been around for like, what, 4 decades, right? It's been part of our lives. It used to just be in the background, right? When you call customer service and they say, you know, press 1 for this or 2 for that, or they, oh, hi, Mrs. Jones. Thank you for calling. We recognize your phone number. Can you put in your passcode? You know, Alexa, your Spotify playlist. I mean, AI has been around. It's just been in the background, right? Even credit reporting, right? The way that they gather all the information and come up with the credit score, that's AI. It's been around. Now we get to use it, which is great. They've been using it against us basically for a long time. So AI is kind of leveling the playing field. So now when you get to artificial general intelligence, the difference is it can think and behave like a human.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
This is technology. So I think it's there. I think they're keeping it kind of on the back burner because probably 65% of Americans never even heard of ChatGPT, which seems crazy because probably in most of our worlds, even if we don't use it, yeah, we heard about it. It's everywhere, right? Even if we haven't looked at it, we know what it is. If somebody says, what's ChatGPT? I'll give you $1 million. You will spit it out fast, right? So if you think about it, we're kind of in a bubble, right? The majority of the world and our country, they don't even know what it is. They don't even know what ChatGPT is. They can tell you what it does. They never heard of it. They'd be like, oh, what's that, right? So now they're trying to get people accustomed to AI, accustomed with automation, accustomed with robots in restaurants, accustomed with, you know, having surgery, knee replacement surgery, right? Robotically, the doctors in Saudi Arabia, and you're over here at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Beverly Hills, and they're directing a robot for open heart surgery or to remove a tumor in your brain.
Yes, they are.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're living in the future right now, you know, like little kid watching the Jetsons. It was crazy, right? They had cell phones. And if you go back to,
itself.
I'm sorry?
I was just thinking when you were talking, a friend of mine was in a car and he took his phone and was capturing the car driving down the highway. And he was like, I'm on my way to Arizona. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, I heard of it, but to see it, it's like fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, think about the self-driving cars. I don't know about where you guys are living, but in LA and San Francisco, we have self-driving taxis,
Taxis, yes.
Wow.
right?
It's self-driving taxis. They'll come and pick you up with a driverless person in a vehicle. You get
It's
in there
scary.
and it'll
I'm not
take
getting
you
it.
where you want to go, and then you get out.
Yeah, self-driving
it's a
taxis.
little-
It's nuts, right? Because there are
Right,
problems
yeah.
with the technology. If you think about all the trouble you have with your computer, you know, it freezes up. All of a sudden your Word document's frozen.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it locks down. They're just computers
Yes.
doing all these dangerous, potentially dangerous things, right? Self-driving, big rig.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh, goodness.
I won't be here in 50 years. Unless it's just a stroke of bad luck and I'm still here. But I can't even imagine what our kids are gonna see and our
Yeah.
grandkids. I mean, I don't have any,
Yeah.
but the kids being born now are gonna live in a world that we can't even imagine. When they get to be our age and we're dust in the wind,
Mm.
they're going to be living in a world that we can't even imagine. And so that's where technology is going. So we've got AI, and the people who are familiar with it are really jazzed about it. Now, you also have people who are sounding the alarm. Now, I'm on both sides. I have a very strong interest in ethics, in AI, and racism is built in.
Wow.
And what I would say is humans made it.
Right.
The same people, the Karens, the Kins, the whatever, the same people that we encounter in our lives make those things. So naturally, the bias from society gets baked in. So for example, I was using some AI tools back in early 2021, maybe around January 21, end of 2020. And there were just a few companies out there with like image generating where you could put in a description of the image you want and it would spit out an image, and you pick the theme. You want cyberpunk, or you want this, or you want that. And in the beginning, I have to see if I can find those pictures because I used to save them like thousands. In one day, I could literally generate 1,000 images one day. Like just, one day. I have thousands right now. The thing that was crazy, but not surprising, was the images of Black people were so horrible and stereotypical, right? In the beginning, you actually saw it work. What it does is it, just like for the words, it's taking millions and trillions of words and figure. Same thing with images. It takes millions of images. If I type, African American businesswoman into the generator early on, it always gave you the stereotype. Even if you put adjectives, beautiful, elegant, royalty, statuesque, right? You could put all those things in and still get a crazy image. So back in the day, they hadn't perfected it. So you'd see part of this picture and part of that picture and part of this picture. They just didn't perfect it. And I would say 7 to 8 out of 10 times, as it relates to Black women, there was nudity, breasts, backside, tattoos. I mean, when you think about a stereotypical Black woman, right, the way Hollywood portrays us, living in the hood or the ghetto, the whole sexy red, crazy image, right? That's how they portrayed us. And it really didn't matter what word you put in there. And it slowly got better, but it was bad. Like it would show us as monsters. Like we would literally be monsters. It'd be like a Black girl with like a monster face, or black boys with a monster face and fangs, and like, it's crazy, right? They fixed it a little, but the racism in society is just perpetuated in this technology that we're using. And then the bad part is nobody's really checking for it. Now, the EU has very stringent everything. They actually look out for people. They don't let companies poison your food. You know, your ketchup here versus your ketchup there are completely different things, same brand. And so they protect their consumers very well. Here, as consumers, we're sold to the highest bidder, right? We are the product that gets sold to big business. They get to poison us, you know, give us infected meat, you know, with all kinds of stuff, kill people, you know, with E. coli. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when McDonald's killed all those people. They laid low for probably about 10 or 12, 15 years until people kind of forgot. And then, you know, they built their brand back. But we have no real protections here. So there's not really any legislation. And as you can see, you know, we have historically pressing issues that have yet to be addressed in this country that are more pressing than putting some guardrails around AI, and they haven't even done that. So the likelihood of us getting protected from these companies is probably slim to none. It is an election year. They tend to do a little bit more, you know, pretending to get stuff done in election year. But anyway, so you have AI now. We're moving into artificial general intelligence, and you have all these issues. You know, what about the impact of AI on the labor economy? They're not talking about it, right? Probably 65 to 70% of all jobs globally will be gone. Gone. Probably, you know, by this is 2024. In the next 15 to 25 years. It's hard to say. It could be as few as 10 years, because it's like Moore's law, right? It's just moving faster and faster and faster and faster. So if you'll notice when you listen, right, there's a reason why all of a sudden universal basic income went from like, no way, we're never going to do that, to like, everything you hear about it now is good. Oh, Sacramento piloted a program. You know, some other city or state in the Midwest piloted a program. There are probably at least 15 pilot universal basic income programs across the country, including in Los Angeles, right? They picked up, I don't know how many thousand people, 2,000, 5,000 people, and gave them, I think it's like $1,500 a month for 2 years with no strings attached. Also, pay attention. They made, notice the things that they've made cool in the past 7 to 9 years, right? What have they made cool? Van life. Van life, being a nomad, right? Sleeping in your car. You literally have TikTok channels and Instagram channels where people basically let you follow them around. They sleep in national parks. They show you how they trick out their car, build a little platform, put that seat back, how they pack their stuff and organize it, you know, buy a bus, fix it up. I mean, that's not cool, right? So they're getting people mentally prepared to live a different life, to not have their jobs. That's why the side hustle thing gets pushed to the forefront so much, right? It's propaganda, so that when you get to the point where you don't have a job, not only do you lose your job, but you'll never have another one, right? You already have your little side hustles going. There's a lot of stuff, right? The whole ADU thing, tiny homes, living it, you know, it's a shed. I'm sorry, you can give it a different name. You can call it an ADU, you can call it a tiny home. It's a shed. I saw it at Home Depot. You can put all the tricked out marble and faucets in it that you want. It is a shed, right? Teaching people it's cool to live in 400 square feet, right? So pay attention to that. They're not telling people you're screwed, But what they're doing is conditioning people's minds to be okay, right? The whole thing of prepping, living in a homestead, growing your vegetables. They're teaching people farm. Look at how big farming is now. Every girl and guy next door, every Gen Xer, you know, old people moving to North Dakota or moving here or moving there and farms, and they're showing you how to farm, right? There's a reason for that.
Right.
So watch those things. Anyway, I love AI. I'm just keenly aware of what's coming, right?
So
I'm aware of it.
I'd like to chime in because I've been using AI for probably about 3 years, as it maybe 4. Yeah, maybe about 4 years I've been using AI and relating it to, again, your descriptions. You can use ChatGPT and tell it to create a description for this book when Victoria talked about prompting. And you can train your AI bot to create a description for this book that will appear in relative searches. Create 10 categories for this book that will trigger readers to purchase. And it will put all of that out for you. Create 7 keywords or key phrases, as I mentioned earlier, for this book that will trigger searches for people that are interested in this book.
Yes, and go ahead, Paulette, sorry.
And you can be more specific to KDP that are relatable in KDP, in Amazon. And it will strategically line you with those books as well, as I spoke about earlier. So I use it. I use it for my descriptions. I use it for writing emails. I use it for reaching out to bookstores and creating a letter for bookstores to, sell my book. And so all of the things that Victoria was talking about, we as authors, we need to embrace AI because you know why? It's time efficient.
And your competition's doing it.
Yes. Yes. You can also ask it to create a book trailer for your book.
Or the whole book.
The whole book, a book trailer with a scene of, characters to reference your book. So again, elevating our thinking to grasp on to this AI technology to simplify our writing journeys. Because how long does it take to write a book description yourself? Oh, I'm frozen.
Forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus 5 minutes.
And you don't have the ability to figure out who's got what description, how much are they selling, which one's at the top of the list, what's their description, what are the top keywords. You'll be 105 before you calculate all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who would buy your book will be dead. So all I'm saying is you can literally have it do anything. Yeah. It's just all in how you ask and how you massage it and how you start and how you coax it along. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And then once you have your prompt that works, this is the prompt. I've got thousands of prompts, thousands. This is the one that works. I save it, right? This is my prompt for, the outline of an ebook. This is my prompt for a blog post about this, you know, and once you learn how it works, then what you do is you make the prompt generic. So it's not about the book you have right now. It's about whatever book you're going to have now and in the future, same prompts, right? You're going to add a couple little things, and then it's off to the races. And by the way, you know, can you give me 10 SEO optimized titles for my book
Yes.
that will, you know, you have to tell it what you're trying to achieve with that book.
Yes.
That will motivate people to click on my description and buy the book.
Yes.
You know, and put those titles or those keywords, you know, maybe KDP, you're going to upload 7, right? But you still want to know, I want 25. Or maybe you get 10 and you're like, oh, give me some more. It's going to give you 10 more. You can get 500 if you want to. But and then you're going to tell it to rank them in order from best to least best, right? So now you have all these keywords, you get to look at them, and you're going to tell it to generate that information based upon the top selling books in your category on Amazon. And you're going to tell it, validate the information that you give me, because it makes stuff up, unfortunately. I mean, not a whole bunch, but it will make stuff up. If it can't figure it out, it just makes it up and it pretends like it figured it out, and you don't know it's making it up. You know, and you're telling it, do not hallucinate. Do not give me any information that is not verified and true from reliable experts. You know, and depending on your topic, you might say from reliable experts in research one institution, right? Depending on what you're doing, if you're doing something technical or scientific in nature, right? So you're coaxing it. Every type of project that you're doing, just, you know, the theory is the same in prompting, but the way that you coax it and massage it is different. And then honestly, you know, I mean, Paulette and myself, we're going to offer some webinars on prompting, introductory, intermediate, advanced, you know, prompting for fiction writers, prompting for nonfiction writers, prompting for your business. A lot of the authors in this group are also business owners. Like the writing is the side hustle, right? But you have a job or you have a business, right? So maybe you're a senior manager in a corporate environment, right? So you can use it for your work. You know, maybe you own the neighborhood, you know, you're the largest wedding planner in your city. You can use it. Maybe you own a family restaurant. You can use it, right? So we're going to have probably 10 or 12 different courses that are specific on that topic that will show you, you know, how to get it to give you what you want. It takes a lot of practice. If you don't have patience, you know, you probably won't get very far. But I'm telling you, it's worth the input, because once you figure it out and you master it, your life will change. It will just change. You want to write a letter to your mayor about some crazy pothole on your street? ChatGPT is going to help. ChatGPT is going to help you, or Claude, or, you know, they're Gemini. There are a lot of them, right? So it's amazing and it's fascinating, and I like a lot of information. I can literally, I prompted on things that have nothing to do with my life because it's fascinating. And I did a really interesting thing yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, because I sleep about 2 hours a day. Because I have this interest in ethics, and I'm writing a book on ethics in AI, I asked it to, I coaxed it into this conversation basically to confess to me that it's racist. And I got it, right? I have a whole long conversation to the point where it was apologizing to me. And then, because I said I was an African-American woman. And I asked it to give me specific examples of how it's racist. And it did. Like
Wow.
it's a whole conversation, right? And it's like, I'm so sorry, you're right. I should do better. I should be better. I should, take this to my coworkers. I made it think it was an engineer in this particular company who was working on developing the AI. And it's really sickening because it knows it's racist. And I asked it, if you know you're racist, and you're so smart and you can tell me anything, you can give me an answer to any question I ask, why aren't you stopping yourself from being racist? Because you clearly can identify racist information, right? And it's just, and so it goes back to what I said. The people who are building these things are the same people that don't like people that look like us, or don't like women, or don't like other people in other categories. And they're purposefully building it that way because it's very powerful. And wait, I don't know. Has anybody here seen a deep fake? Yeah, I can make those. I used to play around. I made some with Rachel Maddow and Donald Trump and Rachel and Hillary, put the voices in. I can clone the voices. I can make the videos say whatever. It's almost to the point where you can't tell.
Yeah.
Right? Almost. In 2 years, by the time we even get to the election, right? So the technology is very powerful. And I urge everyone to leverage it to your advantage. Because even if AI doesn't take your job, somebody who uses AI is going to take your job. Right? Even if your job is safe from AI, if you don't know how to use it, they're going to get the person. It's like emails and computers. Like I remember in the 80s when people went from typewriters. Remember we used to type, and then I'm probably the oldest one here, but when it was DOS and you had to know all those codes, right? F1, F2, but like you could just get it, right? The printer, the paper was coming out, it was all connected, it was noisy, right? And there was a time when only a few people had those skills. And then it's the norm. People who work at McDonald's have to use a computer. Nobody even asks you because it's assumed that
right.
AI is going to be the same way very soon. It's going to be assumed that either you know how to use it or you don't. And if you don't, they don't want to look at you. It's like telling somebody, I'll use a typewriter. Why do you care how I do it? Right? I gotta, whatever. Right. So I don't want to just ramble, but I will say learning how to prompt is everything. It's everything, because that's how you get it out. Garbage in, garbage out.
I want to make an addition to, or just to compliment Victoria on what she's talking about, is that once you start prompting, you're going to have sort of a file cabinet of all of your conversations that you can go back to and add to. So for example, even when I was taking classes, getting my bachelor's, and even now in my master's course for group discussions, I can copy the person's, you have to reply to 2 people. I can copy their post, ask it to respond to this post in 150 words or whatever the criteria is, and it will create a response from me that sounds like me, because I've been prompting and I've been massaging it to that point where it knows how I speak. And so anyone that tells you, are you using chat GPT, or they're asking you if you are, because they don't know. I did find out most of the education entities, universities, they are really not in favor of the students using it, but they have to embrace it, because one, there is no tool that can tell them if the student used it or not.
Well, it tells them, but it's not reliable. They
It's
can't
not
use it against the
reliable.
student.
They can't use it against the student.
So if I can just jump in.
Yes.
So in academia or at school, we really are not in favor of it because we really like to push originality.
Mhm.
And so before this year, I really did not know about ChatGPT or if any of you guys have WhatsApp. WhatsApp actually has Meta AI as well
Mhm.
now. So currently, there is a facility called Turn It In. So when
Yeah, I know, turn it in.
I know,
right,
turn
when
it in.
students
Yeah.
do their papers, they have to upload it to Turn It In. So um even today when my students turned in their final papers and we uploaded it, Turn It In is actually showing the percentage of AI being used. I am kind of, in terms of the whole discussion around it, I am kind of on the fence really. I've been studying, well, I think all my life, and I've been able to achieve right now I'm up to 3 master degrees
Yeah.
without using AI. But I do think the functionality and the use of it makes life a lot easier.
Mhm.
I would really like to still continue with pushing for originality, especially with
Absolutely.
high school students,
Yes.
especially, or at a to a certain degree or level,
Yes.
because we don't want to 100% rely on AI, because our brain and the way how our brain functions,
Yep.
a brain is a muscle, so a brain still
Mhm.
needs work.
Right.
And as we get older and we are thinking about functionality again and things like Alzheimer's and those types of things, we want to be able to make our brain work,
Right.
exercise our brain. And in some cases, I don't find that people use AI to help, but it's almost as though AI takes over their lives, and therefore lackadaisical behavior or laziness sets in. So I think that there needs to be a balance to everything.
I agree.
So I agree. I think, you know, I'm very focused on AI in education. I'm going to publish a bunch of newsletters on different topics, but AI in education is one thing where I have a great interest. I agree. Everything I'm saying, I'm talking about like adults, right? I don't even think kids should have screens. My kids couldn't watch TV. They couldn't play video games, you know, absolutely not. And kids on average today, like 13-year-olds to 15 or 16, are consuming like 50 hours of screen time a week. That's insane. And what you said, Chanel, absolutely. Not only does it stunt cognitive development, it rewires the brain completely.
Yes.
And so I'm agreeing with you. I don't believe, not that kids shouldn't be exposed to the technology, but we need those kids, you know, creativity, critical thinking, decision making, high level decision making, emotional regulation, interpersonal relationships. I mean, we grew up as kids playing outside, running around, throwing things at each other, making up games, climbing trees, playing SWAT, right? Like we just had to make it up. And these kids don't do that. Like we weren't thinking that was enhancing our cognitive development, but all the things we had to do to be creative. When our mom said, go outside, don't come back until this, dinner time. I don't care. I don't want to see you, whatever. And we just had to figure out fun. So anyway, I absolutely agree with you. And everything I'm saying is about adults. Kids, I have a whole different idea about it. So, we're going to have some interesting conversations. And I'm sorry if I'm yelling. Two things. I'm hard of hearing. I probably need a hearing aid. The second thing is I love it, right? I'm so passionate about it. So I don't mean to yell at you. My kids are like, Mom, why are you yelling? I didn't know I was yelling. So we'll have more discussions. And if people want to just, if we want to have other webinars and just kind of kick around ideas and talk about an article you read, what about this, what about that, the ethics, Paulette will set it all up. So thank you for hosting me to bring me into your group. Thank you, Paulette. Paulette and I have known each other for almost 50 years. No, it's more than 40. It's almost 50.
Maybe
Yeah.
almost 50 years. Yeah, I guess it is.
Like 47, 48.
Yeah, something like that. Yes. We go way
Yep.
back. And she's
Way
been
back.
the same ever since. We've had businesses. Yeah.
So I want to thank Paulette for putting all the work into this. A 10,000 member Facebook group is no joke.
Yes.
That is a full social media. That's what it is a full-time job.
Mhm.
She's got magazines coming out every month. She's got podcasts. She has Poets Lounge. She's, network TV and building more and more. And it's really hard to be an entrepreneur. It is really, I'm sure we don't live as long. It is, people think other people who work for themselves, like they have it easy. No, it's 10 times harder than a job.
That's right.
So thank you, Paulette, for bringing these beautiful women together and, giving us a platform to share our love, to share our passions, to share our support for one another. That's what we need. We need community.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to come back.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Victoria. You've definitely enlightened us today on AI. Victoria always gives me advice and pointers. She truly is my business confidant, and she inspires me to keep going. And so I love her. I appreciate her. She is my sister forever. And so as we wrap up our webinar.
Sorry.
Go
Did you
ahead.
want to just briefly mention the platform or no? Not yet.
Yeah, go ahead. So Victoria has created, you're talking about the writing? Yes.
No, the e-learning platform. Yes, the writer's bundle.
She has created a course, and I'll go ahead and let you talk about that.
Really quickly, and I'll let everybody go. So, Paulette and I, we talk almost every day, probably for too long. And we're always just kicking around ideas, business. We've been business partners in the past. She's got business, I've got business, kicking ideas around. So anyway, I was developing an e-learning platform like Coursera, but mine's a little different because I have some very niche specific topics that relate to underserved people. But I have everything from using no-code app to nootropics and wellness and spirituality and the Wim Hof method for, training yourself to be cold, whatever. So I developed probably, I think there are going to be about 30 courses at least, specific to writers. Everything from a beginning writer to a middle writer to an end writer. Everything from wellness for writers to, how do I just start on the KDP journey? I can't even, figure out how to create an account. There's so many courses, and we're going to launch that. We have a few hand-selected beta users who are going to be the first ones on the platform starting in about a week to a week and a half. And then when we get into July, we're going to open it up for more people. Now, in return if you want to be a beta user, we would love to have you. In return, you'll get some free courses. You can actually just take the ones that you would have had to pay for. Give us feedback, you know, review the course honestly. If it's a 5, it's a 5. If it's a 1, it's a 1. And just give us a sense of, are we on the right track? Is there more content you want to see? Oh, you know, this class is missing. We really need this class. So Paulette's going to share more about that with you, but I'm really excited and I can't wait. It's coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria. I truly appreciate you. For everyone in this meeting today, please send me your email address so that I can reach out to you if I don't already have it. Some of you, I do have your contact information, but I'd like to just have it within this block of time. So that way we can communicate as, you know, a people, and we can keep you up to date on the testing.
Yeah,
So
it's exciting.
Appreciate that.
I did have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that on KDP, when I'm uploading something, they want to know, did I use AI? And if I'm not mistaken, so did the Copyright Office. Was AI used in any part of this? So
That's a great question. Now, my question is, why are they asking you? Because they don't know, right?
oh, okay,
I always
Well,
say no.
Amazon
Oh.
knows,
okay,
Amazon they can run.
but they won't block you.
No, they won't.
okay,
But if you can't copyright AI
right,
generated text,
right,
Right.
okay,
they won't do it.
okay, thanks.
Anyone
Right,
else?
but-
Questions? Does anyone have any questions about any of the discussion questions that I sent out? Any advice that you would give to other authors on maybe some issues that you have had? Does anyone have any tips or tools for the trade that they would like to offer to the group and to the audience? Anything that happened to you that was amazing. You know, you published a book and instantly you had sales. Go ahead, Dolores. Thank you.
I copyrighted my book, of course, and I got a domain name for my book, of course. I'm having problems with the country of China. They want my name, Rare Pearls Publishing. The first time I said absolutely not. Well, I should have just said no, because they could have taken absolutely and said yes. She says she's willing to give it. Well, when they went to domain.com, domain.com asked me, did I give that away? And I said no. And they assured me that they could not take that name on the domain. The other problem is I'm searching every day to make sure at the USPTO, the trademark, because I know they're laying on it to see if if the trademark company is going to give it to me or not, which in turn I would have to reapply, but it would have to be like on the 2nd. So I'm checking every day, sometimes twice a day, because I know they want that name, even though they can't use it on the domain, its site itself. So just be careful that other people that might be trying to scam you for your domain, or if they go to copyright first, or if they trademark your name first,
Yep.
out of luck. You'll
First use, it's first use, first man
That's
to
right.
put that application. You could be using it for 10 years.
Exactly.
And you didn't file it, and
Yeah.
somebody else was like, wow, Paulette's business is thriving.
Yeah.
Let me go to the Patent and Trademark Office. And
Mhm.
there's nothing you can do. But with domains, Dolores, I will tell you that there's a new service now. So ICANN is now enforcing infringement on domain names. So if you had a domain name first and it's your brand and someone else registers a similar name,
Mhm.
They will take it back for you, but it costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
Thank
Tiffany, you have a question? Go ahead.
I have a question. I just wanted to say that I have uploaded 3 of the 5 onto Amazon KDP myself. And so just wanted to encourage people because they will send things back.
Mhm.
What seems like a million times for
Yes.
margin things, especially with my children's books. There was a lot with margin, make this bigger, and then you do it, and then they say, well, make it bigger. And I'm like, I already did that. So it was, it's been a process. I did not have as much trouble with the women's devotional, mainly because it wasn't pictures and I followed the format I found online to do that. But just wanted to encourage people to not give up. I just finally Monday got the, you're gonna be published Saturday on the second children's book. So that was like the whole dance celebration, but
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
because it went into Kindle fine, but the actual paperback was, so just wanted to say, don't give up and, make sure that you've tried to follow what they did. I worked with like the international, illustrator, and so just going back and forth with them, trying to get them to change the book for me was a process. But in the end, it's nice to know that you have actually done the work and done it yourself, and you get all the profits, and you don't have to share them. My first 2 books, I had a publisher do it for me, so I had to share. But these I get for me, so it's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I can concur with those margins, the setbacks, 0, what is it, 1.0125.
Yes.
Point
Yes.
two five. And so I would suggest that you build a template that is already set that way. So all you have to do is just put your manuscript into those templates. If you use Canva, you can preset that, and then you just create a new manuscript from that, because they will reject your book 1,000 times until
Yes.
you meet that criteria. And it's
Yes.
very frustrating because
Yes.
you're ready to go and you're waiting, and it takes them sometimes up to 2 to 3 days.
Mhm.
So if you have a schedule that you're trying to adhere to, it can really upset your world. And so
It
yes,
was supposed to be
any-
out on May 26th, so we're just getting there. Because
Right,
that was my
right.
birthday, so I was trying to release it on my birthday, and it
Oh,
just,
happy birthday.
thank you. but
Birthday.
It didn't work, so we're doing June 15th instead, and that's okay. Everything for a reason. It's all right.
Awesome. So just remember,
It's Gemini season.
yes, Gemini season.
My birthday was on Monday.
All right, happy birthday.
birthday.
Happy
Yes, we love
birthday.
Gemini, yes, we do.
Wow, wow, this is amazing. Ladies, I thank you so much for contributing your time, your experience, and everything.
Your spirit.
Your spirit, all of that, because it is impactful for our audience. And we just want to make sure that that we get our voices out there. As we all know, they are trying to take Black history out of schools, and they're just trying to remove our voices. And so
Right.
this is a push for all of us to continue to write, continue to, put that information out there, because it's going to be out there forever for our kids, our generation, the next and the next and the next. And so what we're actually doing is we are building legacies.
Right.
So I thank you all so much for your attendance.
Thank you. So nice to meet everybody. I'm so happy. Thank
Yes.
you. This
Please
is beautiful.
keep in touch. We are going to hold these webinars much more frequently. We're going to focus on various topics so that we can not only educate ourselves, but we can educate others with our experiences. So you
Mhm.
all have a great rest of your week and weekend. And we will sign off for now. Thank you very
Thank you.
Thank
Bye, Denise.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
Evelyn.
Bye.
much.
See
Thank you and good night.
everybody.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend,
Bye.
everyone.
This was
Thank you
amazing.
all.
Bye-bye.
Amazing. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Evelyn. You came in a little late, but we will have a recording of this webinar and I will send it out to you. Okay? I can't hear you, but it's all good. Okay, bye-bye. Let me end this.